Ladies and gentlemen, today we're diving into a timeless question that intrigues many. What do men really find most attractive in a woman? Confidence isn't just about speaking loudly or taking up space. It's about knowing who you are and walking in that truth, unapologetically. A confident woman doesn't second guess her worth. She doesn't shrink herself to make others comfortable. When she enters a room, she doesn't need to be the loudest to be the most noticed. Her presence speaks before her words ever do. Men are naturally drawn to this kind of energy. Why? Because confidence signals emotional security. It tells a man that you're not looking for someone to complete you, you're already whole. And in a world where so many seek validation, a woman who validates herself is rare and deeply attractive. She becomes a breath of fresh air in a room full of people trying to be someone else. Confidence also shows up in how you handle rejection or failure. A woman who can bounce back after disappointment without bitterness is powerful. Men notice how you carry yourself when things don't go your way. Do you complain and crumble, or do you learn and level up? That resilience is a form of beauty most don't talk about, but men feel it instinctively. It's also in the way you make decisions. A confident woman doesn't hesitate forever. She weighs her options, listens to her intuition, and chooses boldly. Whether it's ordering food, making life moves, or ending toxic relationships, men notice when a woman takes charge of her life. It sends the message, I know what I want, and I'm not afraid to go after it. Even your body language speaks volumes. Eye contact, posture, your handshake, your walk, all of it reflects the relationship you have with yourself. A woman who stands tall, with shoulders back and head held high, immediately gives off an air of strength and certainty. That visual confidence turns heads without even trying. But here's the key. True confidence is quiet. It doesn't boast. It doesn't put others down. It doesn't beg for attention. Instead, it's felt. It's the calm assurance that you don't need to perform to be worthy. And when a man senses that you're not trying to impress, but simply being yourself, it creates a natural pull he can't resist. Ultimately, confidence tells a man that you'll be a stable partner, not a dependent one. Someone who can stand beside him, not behind or beneath. It's not just magnetic, it's memorable. Because beauty fades, trends change, but a confident woman, she stands the test of time. Femininity is not weakness, it's not submission, it's not a performance for the male gaze. True femininity is a quiet strength, a nurturing power, a sense of elegance and emotional intelligence that adds depth to a woman's presence. When a woman embraces her feminine energy, she brings softness to a hard world, and that contrast is captivating to men. In a time where everyone is encouraged to hustle harder and match masculine energy, a woman who remains graceful, gentle, and composed stands out. Her femininity becomes a sanctuary. It's not that she can't lead or compete. It's that she chooses not to sacrifice her softness to prove her worth. That balance of strength and tenderness creates a magnetic pull that men are drawn to without even understanding why. Grace shows up in how a woman handles conflict. Instead of exploding or attacking, she expresses herself with poise. She listens before she reacts. She speaks with intentionality. That emotional intelligence, that ability to stay grounded even when tested, reflects inner grace. And to a man, that feels safe, calming, and refreshing. Femininity is also in the details. How a woman moves, her tone of voice, the way she smiles, the care she puts into her appearance. Not to please others, but because she values herself. A man notices a woman who takes the time to look put together. He sees the intention, the pride in how she presents herself, and he respects it. It's also the energy she brings into a room. A feminine woman doesn't dominate with intensity, she influences with warmth. She knows her presence can shift the mood, soften tension, and inspire connection. That ability to bring peace, joy, or even sensuality into a space through nothing but energy is something deeply instinctual, and men feel it on a primal level. A man doesn't want to compete with a woman's masculinity, he wants to feel needed, wanted, respected. A woman who's comfortable in her feminine essence creates a space where he can show up fully in his masculine. This complementary dynamic isn't about hierarchy, it's about harmony. Femininity invites partnership, not power struggle. When a woman moves through life with grace, she doesn't have to chase. She attracts. She doesn't demand attention, she earns admiration. Men don't just notice her, they feel her. And in a chaotic world that often celebrates aggression, a woman who remains soft is not only attractive, she's unforgettable. Emotional stability is one of the most underrated but deeply valued qualities men seek in a woman. It doesn't mean never getting upset, never crying, or pretending everything's fine. It means being in control of your emotions rather than letting your emotions control you. In a world full of chaos, a woman who brings calm instead of confusion becomes a man's peace. When a woman can regulate her reactions, especially during tense moments, it shows maturity. A man pays close attention to how you respond to pressure, disagreements, and unexpected challenges. Do you lash out, shut down, or spiral into drama? Or do you breathe, communicate clearly, and stay grounded? That difference says everything about your inner strength. Men are not emotionally clueless. They are emotionally cautious. They want connection, but they fear volatility. A woman who is predictable in her emotional behavior, who doesn't create unnecessary problems, is a massive relief. Her presence doesn't feel like a ticking time bomb. It feels like a safe place to land. Emotional stability also shows up in how you handle your past and your triggers. We all have scars, but not everyone chooses to heal. A woman who has done the work, who's self-aware enough to recognize her patterns and take responsibility for her healing, becomes incredibly attractive. Men respect women who can reflect rather than project. This stability creates trust. A man will only open up emotionally when he feels it's safe to do so. If every disagreement turns into emotional punishment, or if every vulnerability is used against him later, he shuts down. But if he sees that you're consistent, fair, and emotionally safe, he starts to open up in ways you've never seen. It's also about not making everything about you. Emotionally stable women can hold space for others. They don't turn every conversation into a personal crisis or every minor setback into a dramatic storyline. They listen, support, and contribute to a solution, not just the noise. That level of groundedness is rare and deeply magnetic. At the end of the day, a man wants peace in his relationship, not confusion. He doesn't want to walk on eggshells. He wants a partner who can ride life's waves with grace, not someone who creates storms where there are none. Emotional stability doesn't mean perfection. It means balance, self-awareness, and peace of mind. And that, to a man, is priceless. Being a supportive woman doesn't mean losing yourself to uplift a man. It means you believe in him not because he's perfect, but because you see his potential even when the world doesn't. Men are drawn to women who provide encouragement without judgment. That kind of emotional backing isn't just appreciated, it's unforgettable. Support shows up in subtle ways. A listening ear when he's had a hard day, words of affirmation when he's doubting himself, and your presence when he's facing pressure. When a man knows that a woman is in his corner, it gives him the fuel to fight harder in life. That quiet strength of a supportive woman often becomes the reason he succeeds. A lot of women confuse being supportive with being submissive. But being supportive is actually a form of emotional leadership. It says, I see you. I believe in you. I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to walk beside you. That kind of energy doesn't make a man feel controlled, it makes him feel empowered. Men are constantly dealing with the pressure to perform, provide, and protect. The world expects them to be strong all the time. So when they come home to a woman who lets them be human, who gives them space to be vulnerable without tearing them down, it creates a bond that no physical beauty can replace. Support also means celebrating his wins without envy. It means you can clap for him genuinely without comparing your journey to his. That emotional maturity, that ability to stand beside him without competing, is something men deeply admire. It shows that you're not just a partner but a teammate. It's important to understand that men don't always express their need for support openly. Many were raised to hide their emotions. But just because they don't say it doesn't mean they don't crave it. A woman who intuitively picks up on his needs and nurtures his spirit, even in small, quiet ways, becomes irreplaceable. In the end, being a supportive woman is about showing up with consistency and care. Not just when things are going well, but when life gets real. It's about offering strength without stealing the spotlight. It's about holding space without holding control. And that kind of woman, she doesn't just attract a man, she helps build one. Authenticity is rare in a world obsessed with filters, followers, and fitting in. It's easy to wear a mask, to say what sounds good, to do what's trending. But a woman who is unapologetically herself, flaws, quirks, and all, is like a breath of fresh air. Men are drawn to this raw realness because it feels trustworthy, grounding, and freeing. Being authentic means you're not afraid to show who you really are. You don't play roles or put on an act to be liked. You laugh loudly if something's funny. You speak your mind when something matters. You don't shrink in rooms that don't understand you. You stand taller. This kind of genuine presence creates a deep emotional connection that no performance can match. Men are often unsure of what's real and what's performative in dating. They meet women who say what they think they should say, who mirror interests to seem compatible, or hide parts of themselves to avoid rejection. But when they meet a woman who is fully herself, they feel relieved. It's refreshing. It makes them drop their guard too. Authenticity also means owning your imperfections. You don't pretend to have it all together. You're honest about what you're working on, what you've overcome, and what you still struggle with. That vulnerability doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. And men don't fall for perfection, they fall for truth. A truly authentic woman doesn't chase validation, she validates herself. She knows that not everyone will like her, and she is okay with that. Because the right people, the ones who truly matter, will be drawn to her for exactly who she is. That unshakable sense of identity is not just attractive, it's powerful. Men respect a woman who can say no without guilt, who can walk away from what doesn't align, and who doesn't compromise her values just to keep someone. Authenticity isn't just about being real, it's about being real with boundaries. And that kind of self-respect makes a man take notice on a deeper level. When a woman shows up as her full, unfiltered self, she creates space for a man to do the same. She invites honesty, depth, and real intimacy. And in a world full of copies, her authenticity becomes her signature, something no one else can replicate, something unforgettable. Kindness isn't just about being polite, it's about the way you treat people when no one's watching. Men pay attention to how a woman interacts with strangers, how she speaks about others, and how she handles situations where she has nothing to gain. A kind heart reveals itself in the quietest, most unnoticed moments. And that's what makes it powerful. Compassion is the ability to see and feel someone else's pain and to respond with care instead of judgment. When a man sees a woman extend empathy to others, it shows him what kind of emotional space she would create in a relationship. It tells him, if I'm ever hurting, she'll understand. She won't shame me. She'll stand by me. Kindness isn't weakness. It takes strength to stay soft in a hard world, to choose patience when it's easier to be angry, to forgive when it's easier to hold a grudge. A woman who can extend grace even when it's difficult shows emotional maturity and inner peace. That level of softness balanced with wisdom makes her deeply attractive. Men are often taught to be tough, to suppress emotion, to man up. So when they meet a woman who radiates warmth and emotional depth, it becomes a safe space. A woman who is kind doesn't just appeal to the man, she appeals to the boy inside him that's been bruised, rejected, or overlooked. Her compassion speaks to a part of him few people ever reach. Kindness also builds trust. A man knows that a kind woman won't use his vulnerabilities against him. He feels secure opening up, showing his softer side, and being real. He doesn't fear emotional manipulation or harsh criticism because her compassion creates a judgment-free zone where love can grow naturally. True kindness doesn't just show up in relationships. It's a lifestyle. It's how a woman treats the waitress, talks to her family, reacts to someone else's success, or helps when there's nothing in it for her. These little acts reveal her values. And men notice. Because when they think about building a future with someone, character matters more than charm. At the end of the day, beauty may spark attraction, but kindness builds the foundation. A kind and compassionate woman brings healing into a man's life, and that emotional impact lingers long after the initial spark fades. Her softness becomes his peace, and her love becomes a space where he wants to stay. A woman with a sense of humor lights up every room she walks into, not because she's the loudest, but because she knows how to bring joy, playfulness, and lightness into the moment. Life can be heavy, stressful, and overwhelming, but a woman who knows how to laugh and make others laugh becomes a source of relief in a man's life. Men are naturally drawn to women who don't take themselves too seriously. When a woman can joke around, laugh at her own mistakes, or turn awkward situations into something fun, it shows confidence and emotional flexibility. It means she doesn't crumble under pressure. She rises above it with a smile. That's not just charming, it's magnetic. A shared sense of humor creates instant connection. It's one thing to be attracted to someone's appearance, but when you can laugh together, it builds a bond that's far deeper. Inside jokes, playful teasing, and funny conversations become the glue in a relationship. They turn ordinary moments into memories. They make time together feel easy. Humor also reveals a woman's outlook on life. A woman who can laugh through setbacks, who uses humor to cope rather than complain, shows resilience. She has the emotional strength to find light even in dark times. And men admire that, because they know life will throw challenges at any couple. And being with someone who can still smile through the storms, that's priceless. What's often overlooked is that men want to be laughed with, not just laughed at. A woman who genuinely appreciates his jokes, who sees the goofy side of him and encourages it, makes him feel accepted. He doesn't have to be perfect or polished. He just has to be himself. And when a woman finds joy in that, he feels free. A good sense of humor is also a sign of intelligence and emotional depth. It means she can read the room, find the funny in the subtle, and adapt to different kinds of people and situations. Whether it's dry wit, playful sarcasm, or just a goofy laugh, humor is a powerful emotional connector, and men don't forget how a woman makes them feel when they laugh with her. In a world full of seriousness and superficiality, a woman who can laugh deeply, fully, and often is refreshing. Her energy is contagious, her spirit is uplifting, and her laughter becomes something a man will want to hear for the rest of his life. There's something undeniably attractive about a woman who wakes up with a fire in her soul. When she talks about what she loves, whether it's a career, a cause, a dream, or a personal goal, her whole energy shifts. Her eyes light up, her voice becomes alive, and her presence becomes magnetic. Passion is contagious, and men feel it instantly. A woman with purpose doesn't need to chase anyone, because she's already chasing something bigger. She's focused, she's building, she's evolving. That focus makes her stand out in a world of distractions. Men admire a woman who isn't waiting around to be rescued, but instead is writing her own story with clarity and courage. Purpose isn't always about a flashy career or global impact. It can be as personal as raising a family with love, running a small business, helping her community, or mastering a craft. What matters is that she has direction. She knows what matters to her and she puts effort into it. That drive makes her irresistible because it shows discipline, vision, and heart. Passionate women are interesting to talk to. They bring depth to conversations, ideas to the table, and spark to ordinary moments. They don't rely on surface-level topics or empty drama to stay relevant. They have stories, goals, experiences, and wisdom that keep a man curious and inspired. Men crave women who stimulate their mind as much as their heart. A woman with purpose also respects a man's path. Because she's pursuing her own, she understands the value of time, commitment, and ambition. She doesn't demand constant attention, she respects the grind. And that mutual respect creates space for both individuals to grow without sacrificing the relationship. Being around a passionate woman also challenges a man to level up. Her ambition isn't threatening, it's motivating. It makes him want to be better, not because she asks, but because her energy pushes him forward. Her purpose becomes a mirror showing him what's possible when you live intentionally. And that's something most men deeply value. When a woman lives with passion and purpose, she becomes the main character of her life, not a background player in someone else's. She radiates direction, energy, and meaning. And when a man sees that, he doesn't just want to be around her. He wants to build something with her. Because her vision adds value to his, class isn't about wealth. It's not defined by designer clothes, expensive perfumes, or the circles you move in. True class is a reflection of how you carry yourself, with grace, dignity, and restraint. It's the way you speak, the way you treat others, and how you handle conflict. A woman with class moves with quiet confidence, and that elegance is impossible to ignore. Maturity goes hand in hand with class. It's not about age, it's about emotional intelligence. A mature woman doesn't need to prove herself through loud behavior or constant attention. She knows who she is, and more importantly, she knows who she's not. That kind of self-assurance makes her incredibly attractive because it creates a sense of calm and control in any environment. Men are naturally drawn to women who have a sense of restraint and discernment. A woman who doesn't overshare, who knows what to say and when to say it, who doesn't allow emotions to run wild in every situation, she earns respect. Her maturity shows that she's not just reacting to life, she's choosing how to respond to it. Class also shows up in how a woman treats people, especially those who can do nothing for her. The way she speaks to a waiter, responds to criticism, or navigates difficult conversations reveals the depth of her character. A woman with class doesn't belittle, doesn't boast, and doesn't broadcast drama. She handles herself with composure, even when it's hard. A mature woman doesn't seek validation from the crowd. She doesn't need to be the loudest in the room to feel heard. She lets her actions speak for her. She's thoughtful, deliberate, and balanced. And when a man is around a woman like that, he feels like he can trust her, not just with his heart, but with his peace, his future, and his reputation. Men notice when a woman has standards, not just in dating, but in how she lives. A woman who has class and maturity isn't moved by trends or gossip. She has values. She's selective about who she allows into her space. And that selectiveness, that elegance, it makes a man work to rise to her level, not pull her down to his. Ultimately, a woman with class and maturity doesn't need to chase attention. She commands respect. She doesn't demand loyalty, she inspires it. She doesn't just look good, she makes every room she enters feel more refined. And when a man sees that, he doesn't just want her, he wants to protect her, invest in her, and grow beside her. Emotional availability is about more than just being able to talk about your feelings. It's about being open, present, and responsive to your partner's emotions. A woman who is emotionally available allows herself to connect on a deeper level without walls or barriers. She is willing to be vulnerable and to share her true self with the person she is with. That kind of openness creates a deep sense of intimacy and trust that a man can't help but be drawn to. A woman who is emotionally available doesn't shut down when things get tough. Instead of withdrawing or pushing others away, she faces her emotions and allows herself to feel them fully. This kind of emotional maturity is incredibly attractive because it shows strength. The strength to be open, honest, and present, even in challenging moments. A man sees that and feels safe to be vulnerable with her in return. Being emotionally available also means being attuned to the emotions of others. A woman who can sense how her partner is feeling, even without words, and responds with empathy, shows a depth of understanding and compassion. This ability to connect emotionally on a subtle level creates a strong bond, making the relationship feel supportive and nurturing. A man values a woman who can truly listen, not just to the words, but to the feelings behind them. Emotional availability isn't about perfection. It's not about always having the right answers or never making mistakes. It's about being genuine and authentic in how you show up emotionally, without hiding behind defensiveness or playing games. A woman who owns her emotions and communicates her needs clearly without fear of judgment creates a safe space where a man feels comfortable doing the same. When a woman is emotionally available, she doesn't just listen to respond, she listens to understand. She cares about what he's going through, and she's there for him, not to fix him, but to offer unconditional support and presence. This creates a partnership where both individuals can grow together, each feeling seen, heard, and valued. That emotional availability deepens the relationship in ways nothing else can.